In 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Rob Carson, and it's Sunday. It's the 29th of March, 2020. On a day where no one sat in church pews. On a day that nobody sat in movie theaters. On a day that nobody sat in restaurants. Except for some places. Strange days indeed. Strange days indeed. I hope you're well. Last night on the show, talked to a buddy of mine. And he is Mike Ferguson, and he lives in St. Louis. And he's a talk show host, and I've known him for a number of years. And he went through coronavirus last week. Pardon me. He doesn't know how it happened. He doesn't know when. He did go to Chicago. And he went to one other place, might have been Indianapolis. So there's really no way of knowing how he contracted it, who he got it from. One thing I learned today, and I watched a video about this, number one thing you can do, avoid human contact. Okay? I mean, do not touch people. If you don't know somebody, don't shake their hand. If you don't know somebody, don't give them a hug. It sucks, but that's the way, I hug a person when I get to know somebody. You get a hug. You don't do that. Then you wash your hands constantly like you are Jack Nicholson and As Good as It Gets. Wash your hands and wash your hands and wash your hands, and don't touch your face and don't pick your nose. There you go. That's what I learned today from an expert in the field. Somebody who is in New York right now, and New York is a very scary place to be quite honest. I mean, it's frightening. Let me look up the numbers here real quick here, guys. I always look at the Johns Hopkins numbers with regard to coronavirus and where we are as far as the world and the country. So the world, 720,000 cases, 33,000 deaths, almost 34,000, 149,000 recovered. In the U.S., we have 140,000 people with it. Italy has 97,000. To put it in perspective, to be as bad as Italy, we need about 500,000 people to have this. Let's hope and pray to God in heaven that doesn't happen. Okay? All right. I've got a lot of video I want to get into. I've got a lot of audio I want to get into, and I want you to share with others as you watch. Carol, I see you're watching. Would you please go ahead and just invite other people to watch? Because I've got a lot of things that are going to be, some politics, some pop culture, and actually some kind of fun stuff as well. Towards the end of the broadcast, I have some very funny videos that I've been digging. I've just been digging around. I do a lot of work, and and I do a lot of prep and all that. And I find some cool stuff, so I'm going to share that very shortly. Poll surveyed national support among registered voters given the option of a head-to-head choice between Trump and Biden. It found that while the former vice president had a 7-point lead in February, that is winnowed to 2 points, putting Trump and Biden at essentially a statistical tie among registered voters. And, generally with Republicans, they're 10 points behind the entire race until the night of the election when she gets her butt kicked. This alone is a big boost for the president, but while the poll specifics are even better news for Trump supporters. 43% of voters say they would trust Biden more to handle the coronavirus. 47% say they would trust Trump more to manage the crisis. On the economic front, a whopping 52% of registered voters say they prefer Trump to manage the economy. 42% think Biden would do a better job. And everybody knows the right answer, and that is, of course, the president would do a better job. It showed that Biden supporters aren't crazy about him as a candidate. What's to be crazy about? 28% of Biden supporters are very enthusiastic about him as a candidate. 46% are somewhat enthusiastic. Wow. This compared to registered voters who support Trump. 55% say they're very enthusiastic. Me, at 32%, they say they're somewhat enthusiastic about the candidate. So there you go. Not good for Uncle Joe. Not good for Uncle Joe. Let's talk about coronavirus. Anthony Fauci, the nation's physician, Sunday morning I believe it's on Sunday morning. No, it wasn't on Sunday morning. Talking about the potential number of deaths with the coronavirus. Now, I want you to listen to this carefully because when I saw the headline, it freaked me out. And it was that Dr. Anthony Fauci on Sunday morning estimated the U.S. could see between 100 and 200,000 deaths. That's a worst-case scenario. Here is Dr. Fauci.
Well, Dr. Birx said yesterday, as you know, that she doesn't think any city will be spared from this virus. How many cases do you think the U.S. will reach? 1 million cases? 10 million cases? Or do we not even have any idea?
You know, Jake, to be honest with you, we don't really have any firm idea. There are things called models. And when someone creates a model, they put in various assumptions. And the model is only as good and as accurate as your assumptions. And whenever the modelers come in, they give a worst case scenario and a best case scenario. Generally, the reality is somewhere in the middle. I've never seen a model of the diseases that I've dealt with, which the worst case scenario actually came out. They always overshoot. So when you use numbers like 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million, that almost certainly is off the chart. Now, it's not impossible, but very, very unlikely. So it's difficult to present. I mean, looking at what we're seeing now, you know, I would say between 100 and 200,000 cases, but I don't want to be held to that because it's deaths. I mean, we're going to have millions of cases, but I just don't think that we really need to make a projection when it's such a moving target that you can so easily be wrong.
Yeah, like the guy in Great Britain, Nigel Ferguson, who ignited the world's drastic response to the Wuhan virus, predicted 2.2 million Americans and more than 500,000 Brits would be killed. Now, he said the U.S. and U.K. would, if they didn't shut down for 18 months and isolation measures were not given, we would expect a peak mortality of deaths to occur approximately 3 months in. That's according to his models. Now he's saying that he's reasonably confident that it looks like we will see the peak of the epidemic arrive in a few weeks, and that the deaths in the UK that he predicted to be 500,000 will not exceed 20,000 and should be much lower. He said 2 million people in America, 500,000 people in Great Britain. Let's hope he's wrong on both of those. This is Dr. Deborah Birx. We've been seeing her the last couple of days talking and saying some pretty great stuff. Here she is talking about the number of cities that will be affected, and it looks like pretty much all of us will be.
From February 29th to March 17th to get to 100 deaths. It took another 9 days to get to 1,000 deaths. Sadly, it took 72 hours to get to 2,000 deaths. Dr. Birx, where are we today, and where is this headed in the next few weeks?
Well, this is the way pandemics work, and that's why we all are deeply concerned and why we've been raising the alert in all metro areas and in all states. No state, no metro area will be spared, and the sooner we react and the sooner the states and the metro areas react and ensure that they've put in full mitigation, at the same time understanding exactly what their hospitals need, then we'll be able to move forward together and protect the most Americans. There's a new website up. It comes from Chris Murray out in Washington State. It's on the IME website, IMHE website. It predicts and looks at this built as an infectious disease model.
Okay, great. I'll check out that What the hell? What? I'll have to watch that when I'm, watching it later and saying, your hair looked terrible. Okay, so moving onward and upward. There's been, the media coverage of this has been terrible. That's why the popularity of the media is not very high right now. Let me see if I still have that. No. The media has been terrible, okay? You know that our national media, our mainstream media, tried to establish some sort of Russian collusion with Donald Trump's campaign for 2 years, and it never panned out because it was a lie, because it was an absolute lie. And so then they went after the president as far as impeachment is concerned. And we saw that nightmare. And all the while, the media is gleefully hoping that, the worst is going to happen to the president. And now originally, the media was more concerned with the president calling it the Chinese virus and other nonsense. And now is doing its very level best to try to destroy the effectiveness of the president's campaign to stop it and what he's been able to get done, which you don't see things like that happen very quickly, okay? Normally you don't see things get turned around like they do, like some 5-minute tests for the coronavirus that are going to be hopefully on the market this week. You know, students, I think at MIT came up with a $300 respirator. You've got well, for instance, the USS Comfort was on mothballs, between crises. They got it ready in a couple of weeks. Here's the president. This is a new ad for the president about the response, America's response as a nation to this crisis.
As we gather today, our country is at war with an invisible enemy. Today, I'm here to express my profound gratitude to the dedicated service members who will soon be on the front lines of this fight. In a few moments, the crew of the Navy hospital ship USNS Comfort will embark for New York City, where they will join the ranks of tens of thousands of amazing doctors, nurses, and medical professionals who are battling to save American lives. This great ship is a 70,000-ton message of hope. With the courage of our doctors and nurses, with the skill of our scientists and innovators, with the determination of the American people, and with the grace of God, we will win this war, and we will win this war quickly. To the incredible people of New York, we are with you all the way. You have the unwavering support of the entire nation, the entire government, and the entire American people.
It kind of looks like Noah's Ark, didn't it? Just a little bit, right? Kind of. Oh, I'm sorry. That was giving people false hope. You don't want to give people hope. If you're in the media, you don't want to give people hope. And that's what Chuck Todd tried to do when he, beyond that, just to officially kind of blame Donald Trump for this. Asking Joe Biden this morning, Joe Biden in his basement, whether he thought, and check this out, in the middle of this, okay, in the middle of this that has not peaked yet, where deaths in the country in the last 48 hours have doubled, this a-hole, Chuck Todd, decides to blame it wholly on the president. And this is really, it's not only just cliche, it's just sickening.
Your campaign put out in a critique of President Trump and says if he doesn't do these things.
Just real quick, I mean, he's a big-time news broadcaster. Look at how crappy his set looks, just like compared to mine. Look at mine. Mine? Yeah. I think it looks better. Don't you think it looks better? Yeah. His looks terrible. Mine looks great. Terrible. Great. Terrible. Great. Oh, yeah, back to the terrible. Here's terrible Chuck Todd.
He could cost lives.
Chuck Todd.
Do you think there is blood on the president's hands, considering the slow response? Or is that too harsh of a criticism?
I think that's a little too harsh. I think what's happening is the failure to,
just remind me, do you think that President Trump decapitated babies as they were walking down the street with their parents? Just what are your thoughts on it? It's a little harsh, actually. It never really happened now.
A prelim to your show where someone said that used the phrase that the president just thinks out loud. He should stop thinking out loud.
Well, at least he thinks. We kind of wonder if you do.
Loud and start thinking deeply. He should start listening to the scientists before he speaks. He should listen to the health experts. He should listen to his economists. He should.
Oh my God, he's been lucid for almost a minute.
Example: the United States Congress passed a significant piece of legislation to help deal with the incredible financial crunch that's going to affect working families and all families, the whole economy.
Yeah, and Democrats stalled it, and got a lot of crap put in the bill that is not going to help the American people, including $25 million for the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts.
So we should be right now thinking about how do we get those small business loans out the door? Because right now you're not...
This is a career bureaucrat, honestly. This man has been in office for 50 years. Why is any of this still an issue?
Banks, that's not the strong point of banks, focusing on getting...
What have you done as a senator and the vice president, mister?
Small business loans out. That's for most of the employees.
Whatever, Joe Biden. Nancy Pelosi, who did everything she could to hold up the vote, introduce her own bill, porked up with unbelievable waste. And here the president, he's doing the best he can. He's got a task force of people who are amazing. He had a board of some of the biggest names in corporate America stepping up. He's making General Motors going to have to do respirators. Hopefully they'll have a lifetime powertrain warranty, because sometimes, But anyway, I think the president's done a hell of a job. He shut down the border with China on January the 31st. He was called a xenophobe. Everything is wrong. Everything the president does is wrong, even when it's right. Here's Nancy Pelosi today, even though she's done nothing but obstruct Nothing. She has done nothing for the American people for the last term. And before that, everything she did was destructive.
For joining us. I hope you are well and safe. I know your home district of San Francisco has been particularly hard hit. President Trump is considering relaxing federal guidelines for coronavirus for some of the less affected parts of the country. Do you think he should?
Well, first of all, let me just say how sad it is that even since the president's signing of the bill, the number of deaths reported has doubled from 1,000.
You are an idiot. Are you out of your nut? This was going to happen. You held the bill off for a week. And that's a great look, too, by the way.
2,000 in our country. This is such a very, very sad time for us. So we should be taking every precaution. What the president,
I just can't believe that just the bang and blame, man. There's no attempt to support the president. There's no attempt to support the efforts. There was an attempt to actually hold back, and it succeeded. The bill, and by the way, the government should help us because they made us close our damn businesses. But she's done nothing.
Denial at the beginning was deadly. His delaying of getting equipment to where it continues, his delay in getting equipment to where it's needed is deadly. And now I think the best thing would be to do is to prevent more loss of life rather than open things up.
Why are things so bad in San Francisco? You're supposed to have your stuff together. What about in New York? New York should be the most prepared city in the entire nation with regard to any kind of a pandemic or terrorist attack. And yet a Democrat-run state has its pants down.
That because we just don't know. We have to have testing. That's what we said from the start.
No, you're supposed to go testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Here it is. Try it again here.
Don't know. We have to have testing. That's
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's what we said from the start before we can evaluate what the nature of it is in some of these.
Yeah, I think there are people who are way ahead of you on this, including the president. He's way ahead of you on this. What did you do for your 80th birthday the day before yesterday? You look a little hungover.
Other regions as well. I don't know what the purpose of that is. I don't know what the scientists are saying to him. I don't know what the scientists say.
You don't know much of anything. And because the scientists are saying things to him and you're not getting it. So shut your pie hole. Okay? You're ever increasingly droopy and dry, just lip smacking pie hole. The governor of New York, Governor Cuomo, was screaming a week ago that Donald Trump had not delivered the respirators he needs, that hospitals needed these respirators, the federal government, people are dying. I'm sure blood is on Donald Trump's hands. Well, it turns out the Trump administration did deliver thousands of these ventilators. They are in storage and have not been delivered to the hospitals because they don't need them yet. Here is the governor actually being confronted honestly by a reporter about the fact that the president delivered the ventilators and he just hasn't gotten them to the hospitals.
Were there ventilators found in a storage facility or something that the president is claiming that there were ventilators found that they need to be distributed? Is there any truth to that?
That is incorrect and grossly uninformed. The point is, we have ventilators in a stockpile.
Whoa, wait. You were screaming at the president. You were screaming at the president because you didn't have enough ventilators, and it was all his fault. What?
We didn't send them to the hospitals yet. Of course we didn't. That's the whole point. The hospitals don't need them yet.
Why were you screaming for them when you have plenty on hand?
Hospitals aren't at their apex. The hospitals have enough ventilators today, but the numbers are going up. We're planning for an apex, a high point in about 21 days. That's when we need the 30,000 ventilators, not today. Right now, we're putting...
And why were you screaming about them? Why were you screaming on television that the president was costing lives?
Them in a stockpile.
If you don't need them right now.
So the point is, well, they're in a stockpile, you must not need them. It's just ignorant.
Wow. No. Your answer is ignorant, sir. Your answer is ignorant and distractive and insulting.
Today, you need them when you hit the apex which is
The
30,000.
climax.
We're not there yet.
The climax. The apex and the climax at the same time. They can be very ugly when that happens. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Oh. Nah, better not. Well, maybe. Let's move on to. Do I want to do that? Yeah. No, I don't. I've got it. Do you want to see a montage of Joe Biden's complete incompetence? I did that poll that showed that a few more people would think that Donald Trump can handle this crisis better, and run the country better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the margin is not huge, and it should be when you consider. And this is what the media thought before Joe Biden kind of was the deal, kind of was the crap sandwich that they served up that you couldn't refuse. All right, this is what the media was saying the last year or so, MSNBC and the like, about Joe Biden. And listen, there's no coming back from these. You're not going to be able to say some of the things these guys said and then say, no, you know what, he's cool now.
It's making Joe Biden look more like a relic from the past.
What's his alias, Creepy Joe, Uncle Joe? A candidate actually spoke to the cognitive devolution, if you will, of Joe Biden.
I think it's pretty clear he's experiencing mild cognitive decline.
Biden looks a bit out of touch here, too.
And still has not sounded quite up to 2019.
Biden looked indecisive. He looked unsure of himself.
I think Biden looked unsteady at many points.
He is a white man of a certain era of this racist paternalism in public policy making.
He embodies it in a way that no other candidate embodies, the old guard.
He's a gaffe machine.
He has a propensity to not think about what he's saying.
He wasn't going to be a problematic candidate in the way that Joe Biden has been.
Biden had to pick an example.
Yeah, and he's your candidate now. Did you see Representative Haley Stevens, a Democrat from Wisconsin or Michigan, having a meltdown on the House floor as they were debating the coronavirus relief bill? I haven't seen the entire thing, so this will be as much of a surprise to me as it is to you. But here she is, and it got pretty nuts. She had her rubber gloves on and everything, which usually makes people in the House of Representatives very nervous. Here she is going nuts.
We are so proud of Americans who are sacrificing so much right now. Our students gone from their beloved classrooms and classmates.
I don't think some of those classes were very beloved.
Beam for our manufacturers who have no. I request 30 more seconds because I rise before you adorning these.
The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Not for personal attention, but to encourage you to take
gentleman,
this
gentlelady,
for every American
I'm going to give you more time.
Right now, to the families.
The gentlelady will suspend. The gentleman from Maryland is.
Can we get somebody in with a tranquilizer dart, just right in the hind quarter there? Just get her from right there.
Recognized.
We will see darkness.
The gentlelady is out of order.
I yield the gentlelady 30 additional seconds.
Ain't nothing gentle about that lady.
Gentlewoman is recognized.
Not a gentlewoman either.
For an additional 30 seconds.
Cause of their servitude, sharing in the profession with those who have not come before you. Similar times of trying medical need, wars and flus pass. You will see darkness. You will be pushed, and our society needs you to stand together at this time. Our country loves you. To our doctors and our nurses.
That's not going to help anybody. Okay, that's not going to help anybody.
I wear these latex
The gentlelady's time has expired. The gentleman from Maryland is reserves. The gentleman from Texas is recognized. The gentleman from Texas is now recognized.
We'll see darkness.
The gentlelady from Michigan is out of order.
Wow.
The gentlelady from Michigan is out of order. The gentlelady from Michigan is no longer recognized.
I don't know who she is.
The gentlelady from Michigan is no longer recognized.
Is it Prozac you're taking? Is it Lexapro? What do you call your doctor? Okay, you're going to have that increased a little bit. Okay, just call your doctor. Boris Johnson is sick. He's the president of prime minister of the UK. Here he is announcing that he has tested positive for coronavirus.
Hi, folks. I want to bring you up to speed with something that's happening today, which is that
one of the symptoms is my hair looks like I've been walking backward in a gale.
I've developed mild symptoms of the coronavirus. That's to say, a temperature and a persistent
Can you just do something with the hair?
cough. And on the advice of the chief medical officer, I've taken a test that has come out positive. So I am working from home. I'm self-isolating. And that's entirely the right thing to do. But be in no doubt that I can continue, thanks to the wizardry of modern technology, to communicate with all my top team to lead the national fight back against coronavirus. And
Yeah, you know, that's the lead in technology. You need the lead in hair cutting. I think would be good. Lead. That's the thing. It's weird. I can't get a haircut, but my dog can. I can take my dog to a dog groomer, but I can't get my haircut. Strange days. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell has blasted President Trump for not taking the pandemic seriously, saying the city was given no red flag from federal agencies to cancel its Mardi Gras celebrations. Guess where the next hotbed for coronavirus is going to be, kids? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And guess what? It's all her fault.
And leaders on the ground, we rely on the facts to make decisions for the people that we serve. Given no red flags, we move forward. In hindsight, if we were given clear direction, we would not have had
It's about being a leader. You got to lead.
Mardi Gras, and I would have been the leader to cancel.
Yeah, I know that. I guess
my kid's school was canceled before you did that.
Reports are that within a week or two after Mardi Gras, all of a sudden the cases started emerging in Louisiana.
Yeah, it's all the president's
Obviously,
Trump.
That's very disturbing.
Yes.
I will point out that with some checking back on February 12th, the CDC, Dr. Nancy Pelosi, said, and I'm quoting her now, "We can and should be prepared for this new virus to gain a foothold in the United States." But you're saying no one from the federal government came to you and urged you to at least cancel or postpone Mardi Gras.
It's all Trump's fault.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah, and everything was George Bush's fault with Hurricane Katrina. And Ray Nagin didn't want to haul people out of the city in school buses. He wanted luxury coaches. And consequently, the buses were left and they were flooded and ruined, and on and on and on. And it was all George Bush's fault, even though the governor and the mayor of New Orleans, the governor of Louisiana, were complete F-ups, like presumably this woman is as well. Oh, here's something. This was a kind of I just recorded this. It was Friday, I guess. Dr. Oz. Everybody trusts Dr. Oz, right? Seems to be a pretty good guy. Talking about how, let me say this. My friend, Mike Ferguson, lives in St. Louis. He's recovering from the coronavirus. He was in intensive care. He had some heart issues, so it may have been made worse by that. I was texted by my friend Dylan today, and Dylan said, "You feel any different after that interview?" And I said, "Yeah. My opinion has evolved, but the one thing I will eventually, I believe, be lauded for is that I was right on the overreaction for people, going to the grocery stores and all that stuff. Jury's still out on a couple of other things. We're learning more and more as the days progress. We're learning that maybe China might have had 4 or 5 times more fatalities than they announced. Not a surprise. They would lie. Okay. We're learning more about the virus, how not to get it. Originally, you know what? I'm just gonna. We'll wait. Let's wait a week or two. Okay. I don't want to speculate anymore. All I want to do is share my opinion, help out if I can, steer people maybe the right direction. If all else fails, make you laugh and entertain you. Anyway, here's Dr. Oz talking about how shutting down everything, is that treatment worse than the cure?
What sort of advice would you have for people who are feeling anxious and frustrated right now? They don't have coronavirus. They're just worried.
Oftentimes they think they have coronavirus because they're so anxious about it. So every small little symptom, you know, they don't quite smell as well this morning as they did yesterday. They think they have it. They have a little cough, a little belly ache. And again, I don't want to downplay these issues because they may actually have coronavirus because people have very mild symptoms often. But
or if you're Kathy Griffin, have severe abdominal pain, which turned out to be an abdominal infection, and blame Mike Pence for her not being able to get a coronavirus test, even though she didn't have that.
The panic attack is devastating, and it is a physical problem. It's not just in your head, your whole body, the rapid palpitations, the sweating.
I have them, too, on Sunday morning when I get up to walk into the kitchen, and my wife's honey-do list is there.
The feeling that the world is closing in around you. And these symptoms can cause all kinds of detrimental effects, which is why I think a lot of doctors now are feeling that the worry and the panic about coronavirus is going to be worse than the actual coronavirus for them. And if we can sort of balance that out, for the first few months, we were all saying, guys, wake up, this is a problem. Now the medical community is saying, Dad, step back for a second. You're going to be fine. If you look at the survival numbers, if you're under the age of 20, we don't have a death yet. There are very few above that until you get into the 50s. So it's a pretty safe virus for the majority of Americans. The panic you're experiencing is only going to pull you away from the calmness you need to succeed.
Absolutely, 100%. We cannot panic. We cannot panic. If we have to go to work, maintain a safe distance for everybody. No huggy, no touchy, no shaky, nothing, no. Constant use of hand sanitizer, washing your hands. And don't touch your face or pick your nose. There you go. There you go. Other things happen in the world. In fact, I guess the day yesterday, Jonesboro in Arkansas got hit by a tornado. There's a little tornado footage. Fortunately, nobody was killed in Jonesboro. I want to ask who stands in a glass room while they see a tornado and walks towards the glass. Not a good place to be. That does not sound like Arkansas. Wow, wow, wow. That is just great. Man, tornado footage. I can't get enough tornado footage. When I was a kid, not as many, there weren't any tornado chasers. So you kind of had to rely on, a TV crew actually getting it. Now everybody's got this thing right here. So tornado footage is cheap. But anyway, it looks like 3 people, I guess, were injured. Nobody was killed in the town. So other things are going on. Oh, this is funny. Did you realize there is you can actually have a virtual relationship with someone online. It's called Second Life. A 3D world launched in June 2013. By 2003, by 2013, had 1 million regular users. Now has 900,000. So it's like online role-playing games. There are no questions or actions to complete. Users simply exist in this world. So they create themselves, and it turns out that Kelly Sexton and Nick Von Aston, she's 41, he's 30, first met while playing Second Life. Their alter egos, Selena and Static Muse. Wow. These are the only 2 people who would lay each other. Static Muse met at a virtual club in 2016. Then they went on a virtual date at an amusement park that lasted for hours. Within days, Sexton told her husband, her real one, that she wanted out of the marriage. Sexton and Von Aston then got married in the game and had a virtual baby. All right? Had a virtual baby. All right? So this is their virtual wedding. And there's your virtual wedding. This is actually them. This is what they looked like to each other before they met each other. And anyway, they got together, and then they decided that they liked each other, and this is actually the real people. Okay, there's the real people. There's the virtual people. Real people. Virtual people. Back to the real people. There you go. Selena and Static Muse. That's their names. Wow. At least there are other nerds out there. Oh, this is cool. I'm going to show you something really, really cool. So I watched a little bit of this Lego Masters TV show last night. It's a competition with Legos. Hi, Ryan. How you doing, buddy? Hi, Marty. What's going on? Anyway, these Lego masters, and they were building a bridge, and the two winners, the Lego bridge held 1,000 pounds. Anyway, I got to that. John Obstad is in London, and he's bored. He's 36 years old. He's got a couple kids, Ollie and Alice, and he decided to, because they were so bored, to make a stop motion video of Sean Connery's 007 with Ollie and Alice as part of their homeschooling project. Yeah, sure, homeschooling, right? Whatever. Anyway, apparently the Lego Bond making his escape after killing Colonel Jacques Beauvoir at his castle in France. Here's what this dad did because he was bored. It's like dad was bored and he dragged the kid. Anyway, John Obstad's take on Bond.
No well-dressed man should be without one.
Yes, very practical.
Get inside.
Hurry.
Very nice. That was cool dad. Cool dad. By the way, huge ratings of Americans watching Donald Trump's daily White House briefings. I watched one today. New York Times reported 12.12 million people watched Trump's briefing on CNN, I guess, Friday. Millions more streaming. People are wanting to hear what that president has to say, oddly enough, and liberals hate the fact that people want to hear it from Donald Trump. That's why, for instance, in Seattle, the national public radio stations decided to stop broadcasting the daily White House coronavirus task force briefings, and Seattle police officers have rebuked the station. In light of the recent decisions made by a public news affiliate, SPOG, the police department, will be this is a response from the public station. We'll be streaming all White House COVID-19 briefings on our social media channels. This is not time to play partisan politics. Seattle community members deserve the most up-to-date information during the crisis. This includes life-saving medical information about our nation's Surgeon General and top doctors. So that's what liberal outlets are doing across the nation. They're realizing that people are watching and listening to the president and being hopeful and hoping that things will turn around soon, which the left hates because they want to drag this out to as close to Election Day as possible. Are you bored at home? I get to go to work. I'm going into work tomorrow. Then I've got mandatory 2 days off. Not terrifically crazy about days off, but I do some things at home. But if you need to get away from all the work and all the kids in the house because you're going to go insane, and I can understand that because my daughter is here and my wife is here and my son is here. My wife is working here every day. My son is 20. He's home from college because college has been canceled. He's doing stuff online. My daughter's high school sophomore year is over, and it's kind of like one of those. It's kind of like that Martian experience in the desert where they put people in there to see how long they could make it, see if they could live on Mars, and it didn't work out so well. I'm a little. And then there's The Shining. Remember that? Anyway, you can apparently now work out of your car. There you go. Look at that. That's Daniel Beckmeyer, a post there, saying that this if you need to get away, just go out and park yourself in the car and get your job done. All right, you can go out there, and police do it all the time. Think about it, police do it all the time. They keep everything right there. So apparently that's an option. You can go out into your car. This is kind of cute. I don't know. Yeah, this is a good idea. Sure, what the hell? So you see this right here? There are a lot of people who are out doing the work that nobody else wants to do, driving trucks, stocking grocery shelves, maybe delivering packages. And so a homeowner in Glendale, Arizona, left this out in front of the house. That was kind of nice. Cans of soup, Gatorade, water, toilet paper. Are she nuts? Where'd she get that kind of toilet paper? That's like an armored truck spill there. My God in heaven. While I'm here, might as well take I'd clean that place out. I haven't been able to get toilet paper at the grocery store for a couple days now. Anyway, she's suggesting that you might do a random act of kindness like this. Yeah, why not? What the hell? All right. Just wash your hands and everything. This is funny. Deion Broxton, NBC affiliate KTMV Montana, is doing a live shot, and he's kind of standing there, and all of a sudden he notices a large herd of buffalo coming his way, and here is how he responded to it. It's classic.
Montana 3. Oh my God.
Those buffalo are coming over here.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not messing with you.
I am not messing with you.
Montana 3. Oh my God.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. You can tell if I wasn't raised on a farm like me, I'd be like, hey, buffalo, come on over, man. Come on over. Let me feed you. No, I'm not going to do that. I've got something that coming up here that is going to it is a you saw this social media TikTok challenge, I guess, to lick a toilet seat, which was stupid. One guy did it. He ended up getting coronavirus. This other woman, who I'm going to introduce, she's a TikTok star who is, as dumb as I've ever seen ever. And you think that maybe she's acting because, maybe. And no, nobody could act that stupid. So I'm going to share her reaction. She started the licking the toilet thing, and Dr. Phil had her on his show to chastise her about it. Oh, this is a priceless story. Kennedy Center got $25 million from the federal government in the bailout. Nearly 100 musicians will no longer receive paychecks after April the 3rd. This according from an email from the orchestra's COVID-19 Advisory Committee. Now, this is interesting because Donald Trump signed the $2.2 trillion CARES Act. Congress included $25 million in taxpayer funding for the Kennedy Center, a provision that raised eyebrows by mostly Republicans, but ultimately won support of the president. It included ensuring the continuity of the JFK Center for the Performing Arts and its affiliates, including for employees' compensation and benefits, grants, contracts, payments, etc. And yet they went ahead and fired them. They fired nearly 100 musicians, even though they got $25 million. And part of that should have gone to employee compensation and benefits. Isn't that just choice? Now, by the way, the Kennedy Center just completed a $250 million renovation, so they didn't need the money to put new gutters on the place. By the way, President Rutter of the Kennedy Center went on the media blitz to highlight the cultural hub's struggles, telling the Washington Post that she would forego her $1.2 million salary during the closure. She runs the Kennedy Center. Really? $1.2 million? Wow. Oh, by the way, the president's Homeland Security released updated guidelines naming gun manufacturers and retailers essential on Saturday nationally, which means they will stay open. There you go, suckers. A lot of people being, kept from the First Amendment, their First Amendment right to leave their home, to express themselves, etc. Being shut down by having to stay at home. Then they wanted to take away the Second Amendment. That didn't work so well. Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, by the way, something that may go away for good, handshaking. That's what the president says. Says maybe people aren't going to shake hands anymore. I don't know. He was never a big handshaker. He didn't like to shake hands. And then he became the president. This is perfect fodder for him. He's like, nah, I'm not going to do it again. Yeah. All right, I want to play this. This is one of the world's shortest not a hand, but a spin of the Wheel of Fortune. Mark Franco, Brentwood, California, wowed audiences and Pat Sajak and Vanna White when he wasted no time solving the answer. Now, I'll show you this. I'm terrible at this game. But he managed to do it with one letter. Here it is.
Mark.
I'm having a ball.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, let's try it again. Now look at that. Look at that. Could you really?
Mark.
I'm having a ball.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's hear what Pat said.
Oh, I love those triple tell-ups. Things like that happen all the time.
Well, I think it's like in the movie Groundhog Day. Maybe he's just living the same day over and over again, and he knows the answers to Jeopardy, which is not this. This is Wheel of Fortune. I'm terrible at Wheel of Fortune. Jeopardy I could do okay. You know, if you get like one something I'm really good at, like Warner Brothers cartoons or something. But, you know, there's some categories, forget about it. You know, just forget about it. And then I surprise my wife every once in a while. I'll be like, nuclear physics for 500, and I'll go, the Doppler theory, duh. You know, and she'll be like, wow, why can't you be that smart all the time? And I'll be like, well, you know. I want to play something fun before I do the dumbest. I showcase the dumbest woman in the world. This is a new Trump Sandman, Enter Sandman parody. I may not play the whole thing, but it's kind of cool.
Thank you very much, everybody. The Sandman. My wife asked me, why are you the Sandman? Just tell me. Our First Lady. I said, because when Enter Sandman filled the arena, fans went crazy. When you hear the music, you'll understand exactly why I say that.
Come on.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Come on.
Say your prayers, little one.
Don't forget.
My son, to include everyone on. Tuck you in, warm within, keep you free.
From sin
Till the Sandman.
He comes. Oh.
Sleep with
one eye
open. Gripping your pillow tight, folks.
Exit light.
Enter night.
Take my hand.
We're off to Neverland. Huh? We will make America middle again. We cover everybody. This is a movement like nobody's ever seen before. It really is. It's a movement. Something's wrong.
Shut the light.
Heavy thoughts tonight.
Okay, we've got enough. That was good. It was good through the first chorus when you're writing parodies. That's where you want to just get it through the first chorus. You don't need to do the whole thing. Unless you're Weird Al and he just goes ahead and does the whole thing. You know. But generally, if it's being played on the radio, they'll want it. But, you know, I'm a comedy writer. All right, you ready to watch The Dumbest Woman Ever? This is a social influencer, and dear God in heaven. Wow. Ava Louise, 21 years old. She did this whole thing, and she shared a TikTok video of her licking an airplane toilet seat. So here she is talking about it as Dr. Phil interviews her, and I will at some point have to jump in because she's just so stupid.
Hell were you thinking when you're licking a toilet seat on an airplane on the way to spring break when the country shut down?
One, I had way dirtier things in my mouth that whole spring break. 2, I bleached that. 3, private plane. flew down on my sugar daddy's plane with my best friend. So really, it wasn't that dirty.
Did it make your lips swell up, or was that all the collagen? Wow.
I wasn't putting myself or anyone else at risk.
On her sugar daddy's private plane. Yes, kids, all you've got to do is look like that, and somebody's grandfather will want to bang the snot out of you.
Okay, well, you just said you bleached it before you did it, but then
And I bleached it after.
You also say you did it to show that there's no danger and everybody shouldn't be concerned. So if there's no danger and everybody shouldn't be concerned, then why did you bleach it?
Well, I bleached it because, like, people, like, poop on there. That's why I bleached it. Like,
I don't care. The looks. I mean, honestly, you're an older guy. You've got a private plane. You let her fly on the private plane. Is it that good? Is it that good that you have to sit next to this after or before?
You didn't say that. You didn't say I'm going to bleach this and lick it.
More than anything else, obviously I wanted the cloud off of it, and I was like really annoyed that Corona was getting more publicity than me because
that just can't be real, right? That can't be real.
Really annoyed that Corona was getting more publicity than me because I currently have like a song going viral right now. Entire virus. Obviously it was a social experiment more than anything else. Like, obviously I wanted the cloud off of it, and I was like really annoyed that Corona was getting more publicity than me because I currently have like a song going viral right now and no one was covering it. So I decided to hop on the Corona wave. But yeah, I
was that a Corona wave there?
Did lie to people. Yeah, I did. And it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. Like, it's funny because I created the fake news myself as, like, I feel like I definitely represent.
She barely has enough intelligence to run her autonomic breathing system.
The whole Gen Z, population, and I'm not terrified of this. I basically took things that your generation and boomers are scared of, and I capitalized off of it.
Yeah, well, I'm scared of licking the toilet, and that fear still is there. It's still there. I would not want to lick. Man, that is super, super stupid. Super stupid. Unbelievable. All right, so it's time for me to go. I want to thank you for joining me today. And if you would, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and tell other people about it. I am currently being shadow banned, unfortunately, by Facebook on at least one of my pages because of my political views. They tend to do that. So thanks for joining me, guys. Prayer for our first responders, prayer for the people who work in the hospital, the people who are being treated for this virus, the people who have been exposed for this virus. For the people who are stocking the grocery shelves, driving the trucks, selling the cars. Prayer for all of it. We're going to get through this. I will see you very soon, my friends. In the meantime, have a glorious day, and I'll talk to you soon.